Once again, we want to thank and introduce the innovator and inventor of the 12-string bass, the bass player for Cheap Trick, and along with his wife, Allison, the person who has started Rock Your Speech, which you can find out more at Facebook, rockyourspeech.music, and rockyourspeech.com. Mr. Tom Petersson. Tom, welcome to Talk of the Town. Appreciate you getting up this morning and being with us.
Thank you.
First of all, you're calling from Nashville this morning. You're home, and want to start off by talking about some recent stuff. You just came in from California recently, where the NAMM show, which is a big music industry show, and I know you were excited because it was kind of the launch, so to speak, of your relationship with Gresh Guitars, a legendary name in the guitar world. And talk to the folks a little bit, as I mentioned in the intro there. You're the inventor of the 12-string bass, and we may get into that a little bit, but Gresh has kind of come on board with not just a beautiful 12-string bass that you're using on stage, but also a 4-string that you've been involved in that folks that may not be able to handle the 12 can handle. Talk a little bit about the relationship with Gresh and how that was at NAMM.
I love the NAMM show. I've been to going to the NAMM show for years. And I've got I've been working with Gretsch for the past year and a half or so, and 12-string bass. They're doing a Tom Petersson signature White Falcon 12-string bass, and that is I've got the prototype, which I've been using for at least a year now, and I've got another one being finished in California, and I've got a 4-string version that's coming out. It's a White Falcon bass also. It's a short scale bass with different pickups, and it's going to be really cool.
And tell the folks a little bit, and Michael, just for those watching on TV, just popped up a picture where Tom's actually playing that prototype bass in a recent concert. Tell the people the concept, because those who may not be familiar, the standard bass player in a band uses a 4-string bass. This is the low end, thick strings, low end. It provides kind of the low end for the band. What was it about either what you were looking for your sound or the sound in Cheap Trick that made you think, I want a 12-string bass, I want more options? Can you tell us a little bit about the evolution of the 12-string bass?
Yeah, I really, we've got a small group. It's a 4-piece, and we wanted to sound as big as possible. So we without adding a lot of extra players. So my idea was back about 1973, I had a Fender Electric 12-string, and I wanted to get an octavider to go along with it and have the low end, have it follow with the low end. But it didn't work really. The octaviders didn't follow, and you couldn't really play it properly. So I had met Paul Hamer and Joel Danzig, who were about to start a guitar company. They had a guitar shop in Chicago, and they were starting a boutique guitar company. And I asked them if they would build. I had this idea for this bass. They have triple string, and they agreed to do it. And that I eventually in 1977 I got my first one, and I've been using a 12-string bass ever since. It's really all I use live. Basically, that's all night. That's what I use. That's really the sound.
And I guess for anybody
if that makes any sense.
Sure, it does. And to bass players, it makes a lot more. But to anybody who's ever played any guitar, but a particular bass, how hard is it? Because for folks who think visualize that, it's still set up with the 4, but there's 3 times 4. How hard is it to hold down that many strings and to play it? I mean, is it a lot more difficult to play than a 4-string?
It's almost impossible. I mean, you'd have to have superhuman strength. No, it's really not that hard. It's hard for me to say because I got my first one. We were on tour at the time with Kiss, and they delivered the bass to one of the shows we were at, and I just took it out there, plugged it in, and started playing it, and really that's all I'd used from that point on. So I don't remember that there's certainly no learning curve because it's still the same strings, E, A, D, G. But it just takes a little more strength in your forearms, really to build it up. But it's really not that much harder to play. Well, I don't think.
Once again, we're talking with Tom Petersson, bass player for Cheap Trick, and a little bit later in the interview, we're going to talk about Tom's new project, Rock Your Speech, which Tom has 2 wonderful children, Lila, a 10-year-old, and a 7-year-old son, Liam. And Liam has been diagnosed with autism, and in particular has some communications problems. And
Yep.
Tom and his wife, Allison, have found that music helps that. So we're going to talk about that. But right now, going to continue to plug the Facebook Rock Your Speech Music. If folks will go on there, find a little bit more. Also has some pictures of Tom from the NAMM show and just some general stuff that are interesting. Go on there and like it. And I promised Allison we'd get over 1,000 likes by the end of the interview, so I want people to do that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So, Tom, tell me, you mentioned the bass. Now, I'm assuming you're like most bass players. You started off playing guitar, and then you moved to bass. Can you give us a little bit of background on what got you into music, what got you into playing the guitar, and in particular, got you interested in rock music?
Well, I just started, like most people you hear that they were watching, when the Beatles started, I was 13 years old, and I was watching the Ed Sullivan Show, of course, and that really started me wanting to play guitar. So I took, I learned to play the guitar, and I got in a band shortly after that. I was maybe 14 or 15 by that time, and I really just started, one thing led to another, and it was really a nice hobby. I just loved music, and it was great fun, and I just kept playing in bands really my whole life. So after a couple of years, I switched over to bass. We got sort of a blues band, a band called Toast and Jam, and I started playing bass in that band. It just kept going with bass. I love it. So,
and of course, eventually, you're from Rockford, Illinois, and I think that the four original members of Cheap Trick are all from that area. And the first one you kind of met up with, of course, is your lead guitarist. Folks that know rock and roll know Rick Nielsen. Tell me about meeting Rick as a young man and how you eventually got involved with him in a band.
Well, Rick was, we were in high school together, and he was in a competing band in Rockford, Illinois, and we knew each other that way. But then we really started hanging out. In 1968, he and I went to London together because we just, loved the whole music scene over there, the English scene. All the British music was just, that's what we loved. Mm-hmm. And so we went to London, and we decided really to start an all-original group instead of doing, just a cover band. So he and I and three other guys started the band, and we went from there. And I've been working with Rick really ever since.
Now, Rick, and for those who are familiar with the band, he's known really for the two main things when people think Rick Nielsen is that unique look of his, which he's had almost since the beginning of the band, and then, of course, he's known throughout the world as a really avid guitar collector. He has an amazing guitar collection. But do you think some of that, right now there's a lot of buzz about Cheap Trick in general, a lot of bands that are coming to prominence now are pointing to Cheap Trick as an influencer. I mean, what's Rick like as just a pure guitar player? Did you consider him, is he kind of an underrated guitar player?
I think he's definitely underrated. He's really a great, innovative player. He's got a very unusual, kind of a loopy style, and he just he really goes places on the guitar that you just don't expect. And I love his playing. And really since we've been working so long together and grew up in the same area, we really have so many of the same influences. So I'm used to hearing him, so it's hard for me to say, but I think he's definitely underrated. We're
talking once again with Tom Petersson, bass player from Cheap Trick. Tom, I know as we were just talking, you and Rick been around for a long time. You were in a couple bands before Cheap Trick formed, but getting to Cheap Trick, you were really instrumental. And when people know that band, there's two things in addition, of course, to the music that are kind of iconic of Cheap Trick: the name and the logo. And you played an instrumental role in both of them. First of all, talk about the name. How did the name Cheap Trick come up for the band?
Well, Rick and I and Bunny, our drummer, were living in Philadelphia at the time in, I don't know, with this 1972, 73. And we went to see the group Slade. And we loved Slade, and they came to the Forum or something, or Spectrum there, I think. Anyway, we were sitting there watching them, and they were doing everything. They had, glitter, the platform shoe. They had it all going on all at once and I turned to Rick and I said, wow, I said, these guys have every Cheap Trick in the book. And he goes, oh, wow, Cheap Trick, that'd be a great band name. So
just that easy.
That's really what happened. So it didn't happen at that moment, but we... it later that we used that name, and it just stuck.
And then, of course, the logo, which so many people knows, which has the band name Cheap Trick in multiple times and kind of almost looks like a typewriter font that the ink is dripping a little bit. Talk about that, because as I think the story I heard is a lot of guys in the band didn't really understand the whole concept behind the logo, and you were the one who said, "Oh, wait, this is cool. Let me talk about how you kind of championed that logo."
Well, I don't know if it was the other guys in the band. It was our manager who said, he saw the logo. He goes, "Well, I don't know." I said, I don't get it. These are all so similar. I don't know which one of these typewriter fonts you like. I said, no, it's not just one of them. It's the whole thing is the logo. So it wasn't the other band members, but I was just talking to our manager. He just said, "Oh, no, I don't know. That doesn't look that good." And we were just kind of looking for a logo. I said, "No, it's the whole thing." And it's like, "Oh, okay." And then we started using it, and it just stands out so much. It's a great logo.
And of course,
I wish I'd come up with the idea, but I just I just happened to be. I just thought, hey, that is a good idea.
And of course, it's iconic, and it's got to be cool for you to, occasionally you'll see somebody from another band out there wearing a Cheap Trick shirt with that logo on. It's just become so synonymous with the band. So obviously, it was a good choice. We're going to take a break right here. When we come back, we're going to talk more with Tom about Cheap Trick, the early years, Japan and Budokan, which a lot of people have questions on. And then, as I mentioned, we're going to talk a little bit about Rock Your Speech. And for those who are interested in learning more about how they're using music to help children with autism, go to rockyourspeech.com, Rock Your Speech Music on Facebook, and also just follow Tom on his Instagram page at Cheap Trick Tom on Instagram. You're listening to Talk of the Town. Doug Raymond sitting in for Henry Hinton on WTIB 103.7, WNBU 94.1, and Channel 7.
To want me.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town. I'm Doug Raymond sitting in for Henry Hinton. And we are talking with Tom Petersson, bass player for Cheap Trick. And there, as you heard us coming out of the break, the bumper was the live version of I Want You to Want Me, from what is listed on many lists as one of the top 50 rock and roll albums of all time, live at Budokan. And Tom, that's probably a good place to start, because that's got to be one of the questions you hear all the time. You're kind of a typical touring rock band trying to make a name in the United States, and all of a sudden you find out that you've got a lot of popularity in Japan. You go over there, and tell the folks a little bit. Let's just start with that song. One of the things that when people listen to that song, they're just amazed that you can hear these Japanese people kind of reciting the words back to you guys as you're singing it. I mean, what was that like? Because I think it was it a little bit of a surprise at the frenzy around Cheap Trick when you went to Japan?
Well, we weren't totally prepared for it. No, we weren't successful anywhere else. We were just bashing around, touring, and trying to get something happening. And we got the success in Japan really out of the blue. And we went over there, and it was pandemonium. So it was great fun. It was very crazy. But
and when you say crazy, I mean literally, it was kind of the stuff that people associate with the Beatles, and you were having to jump in the back of unmarked trucks because people were following you when they did find you. I mean, they were trying, particularly you and Robin, who were kind of the heartthrobs of the group. They were trying to pull your hair out. I mean, is all that exaggerated, or is that true?
Well, it wasn't just Robin and myself. It was all of us. It was just really, it was to the point of being dangerous. So it wasn't that people were following us. We just really couldn't go anywhere, and they had very tight security. So they had these, they really had it together over there with I think it was called the Tokyo Patrol. They would just go everywhere with us. And, and we couldn't go. We had to have the whole floors of hotels blocked off, and they had to guard at the elevator doors, 24 hours a day. And we couldn't, we got to the point where we couldn't look out of the window of the hotel. We certainly couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't go to any restaurants or really do anything. So, and it was, we were sitting around twiddling our thumbs in our rooms. We were at that point also sharing rooms. So Rick and I were in the same room, like, okay, what do we do now? We can't go anywhere. We could go in the hallway, but you couldn't go even near the elevators, that kind of thing.
And at this point,
you'd be stuffed in the trunk of a car, basically, or lay on the floor, and people put their feet on you. And hope that you wouldn't get mobbed. So it was interesting.
But at this point in your career back in the States, I mean, you weren't playing major venues or anything at that time, right? I mean, it had to be
not on our own.
Yeah.
And we worked with Queen, and we worked with Kiss, and we were doing opening acts for a lot of different people. But in general, no, we didn't have any success. Really, we were just unknown, and we would do small clubs and little bars and whatever, like anyone else would do. And it's like we did this whole Japanese tour, and it was complete pandemonium. When we came back, and we were probably at the Bettendorf, Iowa Pizza Hut or something for like eight people. Like, Freebird. Like, okay.
And talk a little bit about, of course, as I mentioned, that album's listed as one of the greatest albums in rock history. Did you guys even know that they were recording? I mean, what kind of notice did you have that they were actually even recording those shows at Budokan?
Well, it wasn't. They were recording it. They told us they were going to record a couple of the shows for a television show that they were going to put together for an hour-long show. So, we got to the venue at Budokan. It was like, wow, I thought they were going to record this thing. There's nobody here doing anything. Well, they had set up earlier. They were all ready to go. So all right. So we just did those shows, and they recorded the stuff, and it became a television show. And in Japan, it's pretty funny because it's 60 minutes. So it's not the entire show, of course. And
right.
It's got all these toothpaste commercials and all this kind of stuff, and it's pretty comical. But then they decided that the Japanese record company decided to put out an LP of, since they recorded it, why not do that for domestic, just Japanese only album? I'm like, fine, and then that's really what happened. They said, oh, here's the cover, and we're like, oh, that cover, I don't know, it's a terrible photo. I don't know, we don't like it. Our manager goes, oh, well, don't worry about it. No one's ever going to see this anyway, so who cares?
And
well, we care, but there you are.
There's just so much about that album. We listened to "I Want You to Want Me" come in. That was a song that really you had kind of taken out of your playlist. It really hadn't done much in the States and hadn't got a lot of response, and it was kind of thrown in at the last minute, and that became the first big hit off that album. And then the other thing everybody remembers is lead singer Robin Zander introducing "Surrender," which was being released, that week, I think. And everybody just thought Robin was so cool the way he introduced it. This is the next song off our new album. And really, he was doing that because they didn't understand English, and he was doing what we all do when somebody doesn't understand. You speak louder and slower. I mean, it's just an amazing dynamic for the whole thing, and how this just afterthought became your breakout album. Let's talk about that a little bit as we move on. From there, you had some other success, Dream Police and other stuff. What's it like? I mean, you have to be aware of what Cheap Trick is in the lexicon of Americana. I mean, we're coming up on Super Bowl weekend. You remember a few years back they used Dream Police. I think Audi had a commercial that they called the Green Police that they used the song. You guys do that 70s show, the Out in the Streets remake is you guys. Even one that I get a kick out of every once in a while, it's on How I Met Your Mother. Neil Patrick Harris character Barney actually, as a pickup line, tells girls that he's you to pick up girls. I mean, what's it like when you're constantly...
Did that work?
Yeah, it worked very well, actually. The hair wasn't exactly like...
Well, we also do the themes. Not that many people know this. We did the theme song for Stephen Colbert, too. That's us.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, what's it like when you constantly hearing Cheap Trick, when you hear... before you came on, I was talking a little bit about the Foo Fighters thing. I mean, when Dave Grohl, I would say right now the Foo Fighters in rock music are probably the hottest thing out there. When Dave Grohl says he knows the Foo Fighters made it when somebody compared them to Cheap Trick, and he said that Kurt Cobain was a Cheap Trick fan. I mean, what's that like? I mean, I know you're a humble guy, but that's got to be just kind of overwhelming when you hear everywhere you turn, it seems like Cheap Trick's out there.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's a great compliment. It always surprises us. And a lot of times people will say that, and we don't see. Wow, really? It just seems a bit strange still. So it's just a great compliment. I don't even know what to really say about that, but it's nice.
And of course, you're going to be playing with the Foo Fighters later this year in Wrigley Field, which is, you're from the Chicagoland area, so that's got to be a great thrill playing Wrigley in general. You've done it once before, but now doing it with the Foo Fighters.
Now we're the house band at Wrigley Field. We play there all the time. Anytime they have a show, we're there.
But once again, growing up in Chicago and, Wrigley Field, such a landmark, that's got to be neat. Now, over the years, there's been some changes in the band. Right now, and once again, for those just tuning in, we're talking with Tom Petersson, bass player from Cheap Trick. Right now, your drummer is actually Rick Nielsen's son, Dax. That's got to be interesting because you kind of, you watch Dax grow up, and now he's the drummer. What's that like?
Well, it is funny. I don't think of it that way really all the time, but yeah, he was just a little kid, and I knew him, and we'd hang out, and he'd play me all the music he liked. He was into Korn and all these, metal bands and all this stuff. So he, it was funny. So we'd go out, and I'd take him out. We'd go downtown and play pinball and stuff, and we'd hang out. Now we're hanging out more than ever.
And of course,
so there he is. He's all grown up now. They said he's referred to as Rick Kid, but he's not a child or anything. I think he's 11 or 12 now, something like that. No, I think he's like 32. So he's all grown up. Doug.
And he's also, it isn't just you needed a drummer, so you got. He's a very accomplished. An excellent drummer, and really, you guys, you're known for your live acts and. He really does know the catalog because you don't play the same thing every night. And, you have, how many albums have you guys put out now?
That I don't know.
It's just for a while you were doing two.
Wild guess. I don't know. It's a lot. He's a classically trained pianist. He plays guitar. He's really, really good. I think his first instrument is piano. But anyway, he learns all the songs on guitar. He just knows it, so we turn to him all the time. We're like, oh, how's that bridge go, or what are the? How does this? He remembers that, our catalog a lot more than we do. So it's great for that. It's like, oh wait a minute, what are the? Oh no, that's a B minor in there. Like, oh okay, because we certainly don't remember all those songs. We can't just off the top of our head just start playing any song that we've recorded. Some of them we never played, so. Yeah, but we do change the set list up all the time, and it's great fun, and and he's just great.
Well, Tom, we're going to take our last break and talking about kids. When we come back, we're going to talk about your two children and how Liam's situation and your love of music has morphed into Rock Your Speech. Once again, I'm very pleased. The Facebook likes are going up, so continue to go to Facebook, Rock Your Speech Music, and find out more about it and do the likes. And we'll be back with Tom Petersson from Cheap Trick on Talk of the Town, WTIB 103.7 FM, WNBU 94.1 FM, and Channel 7.
I've been north, I've been east to the California beach. There's only one.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town. I'm Doug Raymond, sitting in for Henry Hinton. You hear the sounds of Cheap Trick there. And that's actually, we got Tom Petersson, bass player from Cheap Trick, on the line with us. And Tom, if I'm correct, it's one of my favorites, of course, because it's about Southern girls, but that's one that you co-wrote, isn't that correct? Southern Girls?
That's right.
And not a lot of, you don't have to delve into the meaning of that song. It's very self-explanatory. You obviously had...
I don't have to, thank you.
You obviously had a very good experience with Southern Girls. And for those that are watching on Channel 7 on TV, I'm holding up, Tom, you'll just love this. I've got a copy of the Rolling Stone from 1979 with you guys on the cover, and you with that full head of hair, and just...
hey, wait a minute.
What are you offended by that? You were a fine looking man, and you've always been the fashion plate of the group. So is
that right? Okay,
that's why those Japanese girls were pulling out your hair.
Aren't we all dressed up on that cover? I don't. You've got to. Can I have that? I don't have one of those.
You're lying. You've got one of those someplace. You're telling me that you were on the cover of Rolling Stone and you don't have a copy of that. It's got to be someplace.
Easy to misplace that kind of stuff. Yeah, I got to find it.
Okay, I'll make sure you get one if you can't find it. But it's the typical, Robin's looking fashionable, you're looking fashionable. Rick is decked out in checkers, and Bunny looks like a stockbroker with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
I do know what it looks like. I've got to get it because I'd like to read the article again. That I haven't read since it came out, I think.
Before we get into Rock Your Speech, and once again, I'm very proud. We're up to 994 likes, so we've got to go over 1,000. Rock Your Speech Music on Facebook.
Is that right?
There. Yes.
Okay.
So we're close. But Michael was who's a huge classic rock fan and loves Cheap Trick as well, screaming at me. Ask him about new music. Tell the folks, is there any new music in the future for Cheap Trick? New album, anything coming out?
Oh, yeah, we always do new music. We record all the time, wherever not wherever we go, but we just, whenever we get a chance to put things down, we've just got so many different ideas and things that haven't gone on other records, and we're constantly working. We just love doing new music, so it's just a natural thing for us to, whether the records sell or not, that doesn't make any difference. We just honestly do it for our own enjoyment. So, and we just work, put new music together all the time. We're in the middle of doing a new LP, and it's about, I'd say, at least halfway done, and we should finish shortly. We're always putting it together.
Well, that's great news for Cheap Trick fans. As we said, we're going to talk a little bit about your latest project, Rock Your Speech. Talked a little bit about it at the beginning, but for those who are just turning in, you and your wife, Allison, have 2 children. Lila, who is 10, who is very, very accomplished musically already. And those watching on Channel 7, Michael's just put up a lovely family photo of the 4 of you.
Oh,
and I'm so glad.
Am I on television too?
Yes, you are, and I'm so glad the children got your wife's looks, because they are both very good-looking kids. But Liam, who is 7, was diagnosed at age 5, I guess, with autism. Talk a little bit about what you and your wife discovered as far as music and how it was affecting Liam, and how that kind of morphed into this project, Rock Your Speech.
Well, my wife Allison really had the idea to put together songs that that were simple enough for Liam to really catch on to quickly, and so we decided to just put together the type of music that we like to listen to. I mean, it's not little kid music; it's the kind of thing that the type of music we like. So it's really a natural thing. Write these songs, and the songs really have a simple theme and are easy to follow. And he just latched right onto the songs. He just immediately. It's for him, if he can understand what's going on in the song quickly, and he can repeat a word or a couple of words. It's great, and most things just fly past him. Most songs, they're too complicated.
Right.
Just pick up on either the first word of a line or the last word. We're like, well, why don't we just make it simple, but not children's music, but it's really for people or kids with speech difficulties, so you can really sing along and have fun, and it's not complicated. It's good fun.
Now, Tom, can you give us an example of something that you were trying to teach, a word or a concept that you were trying to teach Liam, how you put it to music and the effects that it had?
Yeah, well, one of the first things, I think maybe the very first thing we did was a song called What's Your Name? So I was in the little studio here, and I did this song, and Liam heard it, and he just went crazy. He just thought that was the greatest thing he ever wanted to hear it over and over and over. And right after that, and he only had a couple of words. He didn't speak much at all at that time. And he started asking people wherever we went. He still does it, asking everyone he'd see, "What's your name?" Any waitress, it didn't matter who it was. What's your name? What's your name? Your name? It was like, wow, this is really cool. So Allison really has a journal of phrases that she wanted him to be able to say, because since he couldn't speak, he didn't know if he's sick, if he's tired, if he's hungry, if he's all these different things. So we tried to think of things that we would like for him to learn, and went from there and had these, so the songs have these kind of themes.
Now, let's talk a little bit about how you went a little bit further, incorporated into music video. And if folks either go to rockyourspeech.com, or it's actually posted on the Facebook page that we mentioned before, to Rock Your Speech Music on Facebook, they can see a music video called Blue. And talk a little bit about that. And by the way, that's a song that if you listen to it twice, you were talking about this isn't kiddie music. If you listen to it twice, it'll be in your head all day. I mean, it really is a catchy, well-done song. But talk about that video and how you incorporated concepts that were important to children with autism trying to learn words.
Well, Liam didn't understand the concept of colors. We thought he may be colorblind. He just did not get it. Then we, took him in and had him tested. He was not colorblind. He just didn't understand it. So eventually, he did figure out what it all was. But we just, like in all the videos, well, in the blue video, that's the only video we have at this moment. A big thing is the visual thing for autistic kids, is seeing how words are formed, seeing what, everything is very literal. You say the word blue, you can see how to say the word, and then it'll go to something that is blue. The ocean is blue. The sky is blue. Your eyes are blue, that sort of thing, and you'll show the eyes. So, like, oh, okay, so that's the way we plan on doing every video, as a teaching tool, and something it's really, again, it's easy to figure out, and it could kind of mean anything. They're not, like I said, not little kid subjects necessarily, but the videos, well, if you see the video blue, you'll get the idea. That's what every song will have, is a video for each one, and it'll all become clear, Doug.
And also want to mention, if they watch the video, your 10-year-old Lila is, and I already mentioned she's a very accomplished musician. She actually is very involved in this whole process with the music.
Oh yeah, she's a singer, songwriter. She plays piano. She's really great. That she's just in general an inspiration, and she's so protective of her little brother, and she's fantastic. So I can't say enough good things about her. Yeah, but she's all over there. In fact, she has a song on the record called "Going Places," and it's very cool. We've got the whole thing. The whole project is finished, the recording, but it's just not released yet. So we're just planning on doing videos for each song. But like I said, when you see the video blue, that is the idea of the whole thing.
Well, Tom, as we wrap up, if you could tell folks, what's been the response to this from both maybe the music community and the autism community, people reaching out to you and say, oh, I've got a child with autism, or I know somebody with, what's been the response that you've had thus far?
Well, people have been very, very nice about it. It's really, people just think it's a great idea, and I think it's a great idea, too. It wasn't my idea, but it was what we've done. I thank Allison for that. It is a good idea. We have just been in great response from therapists and, music therapy. Music is such a big part of really most people's lives, and our lives certainly, and this is what, I do for a living, and it's all very natural to me. But music really, it affects people. It's hard to even describe, but it means a lot to people, and we see what a big part of music is in our kids' lives. And Liam just loves this stuff, and he can't get enough of it. He dances and sings, and he goes wild. So the response we've gotten so far has been really, it's very encouraging, and we just want to continue and bring awareness to autism, and just see really what happens here. We get out there, we tell our story, we live it every day with our son, and we're just going to keep going.
Well, that's great. And once again, we've been talking with Tom Petersson from Cheap Trick, bass player from Cheap Trick, and also his new project, Rock Your Speech. On Facebook, Rock Your Speech Music. Tom, you will be happy. I just refreshed. You are now at 1,000 likes. So we met our goal today. And also rockyourspeech.com. And you can get a little insight into the life of Cheap Trick bass player and rock star Tom Petersson and his quirky sense of humor on his Instagram page, which is Cheap Trick Tom. Tom, we got to go. We're out of time. We appreciate you giving us so much time, and hope this helps to spread the word about Rock Your Speech.
Yes, thank you so much, Doug. And please say hello to Henry. I've got to get back when he's on, too. Nothing against you, Doug.
We'll do that. Thank you. You've been listening to Talk of the Town on WTIB 103.7 and WNBU 94.1.